Hey everyone, you may have seen my last video where I was complaining about the Triumph GPS solution, especially with connecting to my phone. I haven't been very successful with that, and also been watching a few videos where people have basically said get yourself a proper GPS, and I want to do a bit of off-road as well, so I decided to get the Zumo XT from Garmin. So I've bought that and it's arrived, and I've been temporarily putting it here on the handlebars, but I've actually ordered an Evotech solution from Germany. They're not cheap, but I think it's probably the best solution I've seen, or the only solution I'm going to be happy with. It bolts on underneath the windscreen onto the 4 bolts, and then a piece comes up over the top where you'd bolt your GPS mount on. You can see I've already put the power supply. I've just hung it here in the meantime for the Zumo GPS, and that goes kind of next to the dash and down over here. And what I've done is all the bits and pieces that are supplied with the Zumo XT, this piece actually clips off here, and I've shoved that all underneath here, including the power adapter that steps down the voltage from, well, I think it's up to 30 volts down to the voltage that the Zumo uses, which I'm presuming is about 5 volts or something like that. Anyway, that's all tucked away underneath, and all that's coming out now is this piece from underneath. This is the end of the Garmin supplied piece. And then I've watched some other guys trying to route the wiring through the bike, and they've gone and taken all the plastic off and even had to take the protection bars off, and I really wasn't gonna bother that much, risk breaking things, so I've just used my normal plastic wire pusher to go basically from underneath the seats. And here's the wire here, and it basically, I pushed the rod just basically under the top here and then through that side, and then it came nice and neatly out the other side over here at the forks. And I haven't cut it off yet, but I'll be cutting that off, and all I'll do is I'll actually connect this wire onto this one, and then I've got it coming all the way through the bike, and this is it here going underneath the seats, and then just ending over here now. And what I've done is I've taken the little compartment that they supply to put your phone in off, and it actually plugs in over here. I've put my phone in once or twice, but to be honest, I don't use it, and I'm not going to use it, so I've decided to use this power point here. I've heard that modern bikes get very fussy. You can't just plug them in anywhere. I didn't want to plug it directly into the battery, which you can do, because then you'll have a live power going through to this all the time, and then you'll have to make sure it's covered so things don't short. So I thought, well, I'll use this anyway. All I'm hoping I have to do is go and find myself a plug like this somewhere at one of the auto parts dealers. I'll take this with me, and then I'll be able to put that piece on here and plug that in there. And I've checked, there's nothing coming through when the bike's off, or even when the ignition's switched on, but once you actually start the bike, you've got your 13 volts coming through there, and obviously that'll go all the way through to the adapter that I've got tucked in underneath here, and yep, then that'll give it the correct voltage through to the Garmin. The Evotech GPS mount that I've ordered is stuck in Frankfurt at the moment for the last week. Hopefully it'll become unstuck and arrive in Australia soon, and then I'll show you guys how I fit that, and then I'll have a nice neat solution with, you know, the screen here, and then the other Garmin screen at the top, and it'll look like a factory fitted solution. So I'm looking forward to receiving that part, and then I'll show you guys how I fitted that, and I'll also show you again once I've found the right plug to plug in here. Worst case scenario, I'll maybe just take this plug off and reuse this one. I'm not sure how I'll be able to do that neatly, but Anyway, I'll first try and find one of these plugs and then we'll get back to that. That's all for now. Okay, next steps. Went to a bunch of auto parts dealers today and could not find, or no one could even tell me what plug this was, so I couldn't find one. I actually, when I got home, I looked on Google. I did find a place that sells them, but I have got no idea how long it will take to get here, so I'm just going with what I got here. So I just need to get some light on here. I'll get a torch, it's getting dark. So what I've done is the actual power socket under the seat for the accessory port on this bike. I've pulled the plug off there, so you can see there the ports are free, and I've actually taken the plug and so I'm just trying to get this right now. That's the plug there, and I've plugged the wires from the front of the bike through into that socket. So I'm assuming I'm not going to be using this cigarette lighter socket that much. If I need to, I guess I'll find a way of plugging it all back in again. But anyway, I'm going to keep the USB for the phone holder intact because it's way harder to actually splice my wiring onto the back of that, so I'm going to leave it as it is. The other thing that I've done since the last video was I've actually the wires coming from the back and the wires from the Garmin harness, I've actually connected them together using those red and blue plugs. I'll actually neaten that up a little bit more, maybe tomorrow, or maybe once I get the actual mount. But anyway, in the meantime, I've actually got so end to end I've got the Garmin plug coming out the front here, and it'll attach on top here somewhere, and the wiring, as I said before, is underneath. It's all tucked away inside this little compartment on the side, and then it goes through the plastic. In fact, there you can see part of it sticking out. I'm going to have to neaten it up, but it actually tucks in underneath that piece of plastic, and then you can see a piece of it coming through there, and then it runs up and underneath and along to where the cigarette socket was plugged in. And I've tested it end to end. This one comes on when the ignition's on, so you don't actually need the engine started for it to run, so I actually like that better. Yep, and I've actually connected the Garmin on the front to make sure it gets power and it does everything it's supposed to do. So that's it, all in place for now. I'm just going to neaten up the wiring, put the phone case back in, connect that up, put the seats back, and then I guess I'll just wait for the EvoTech mount to arrive from Frankfurt. Chat to you later. Okay, just one last thing. I've managed to squeeze this wire in just behind the screen, so it's coming right up the center now. So I think it'll look nice and neat when I get the permanent mount fitted on the bike. Okay.